You're listening to the Third Down Squad podcast, the best international news podcast for the National Football League. We're your hosts, Derek, Josh, and Toby. Let's get you ready for a new set of downs on Sunday.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Third Down Squad podcast. Again, the hosts up in the top left corner, Josh, top right corner, Derek, and down here it's me, Toby. So, guys, of course, we already did a podcast last week, so let's start off with a quick recap of our predictions last week and what happened in the NFL in the games last week. So, yeah, who wants to start off?
Well, I'll start it off. I gave Josh the opening remarks the last time. First of all, good morning to both of you guys. Well, good afternoon to Toby, I guess, since, Germany. Well, Josh and I both did pretty well with our predictions. We both had the Chargers winning, which definitely was a good pick for us. Besides that, it was a pretty simple week. Obviously, we missed on the Ravens pick and the Redskins pick ourselves. I think, Josh, did you pick the Falcons that week?
Yeah, he did.
Josh did pick the Falcons that week. So Toby and I definitely missed on that one.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a clean week. Couple of, close games, in fact, but it turned out to be a pretty simple week for us this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I gotta agree with you there, Derek. Sorry, Josh. But yeah, for me it's about the same as with Derek. The only thing is my Seahawks pick. I did not expect the Chargers to overrun the Seahawks like they did, especially with the Seahawks at home. Mm-hmm. But yeah, same for me. I didn't expect the Redskins to suck that much against the Falcons at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the other picks we had the same picks, so same for me here. And yeah, Josh, you had one other pick in there. The Bucks at Carolina. What was that about?
I thought they could do it, but I guess Cam Newton just proved me wrong. So
I'll give you credit though, Josh. Fitzmoney did come out and ball in that game. Just ultimately the Buccaneers defense did not.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and have you noticed that every time Fitzpatrick takes over for another quarterback, he's great, but when they sign him to a big deal, he sucks?
Yeah. He loves being the underdog, man. He loves being the underdog quarterback. He comes in, he saves the day, he plays well for a couple weeks, and then just does bad.
Did you know that he was in the same draft class as Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith?
Yeah.
Whew, man.
And that's it.
He's been around for a long time with a lot of different teams.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's a quick recap of our predictions last week. We didn't do too bad. Mm-hmm. I'm behind now with one game in our standings, but we're gonna put up the standings and our predictions at the end of the podcast again. Of course, we're gonna do it again this week. But for now, of course, gotta talk about the Colts and the Saints again. Yeah, I think last time Josh talked first about the Colts, so Derek, why don't you start us off this week?
All right, well, it's not going to be much more than what I said last week. The Colts are favored to win their next 3 games against Jacksonville, against the Titans, and against the Dolphins at home. So I think that that's definitely going to be a great thing for the Colts. I think they are definitely going to win their next 3 games. The second AFC wildcard position for the playoffs is still up for grabs.
Yeah.
The Texans, the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Chiefs pretty much control their own destiny at this point. The Chargers are close behind second in the AFC West. And right now, there are a bunch of teams that can fight for that second wildcard spot. I don't know if I would trust the Bengals. I don't know if I'd trust the Ravens. They're inconsistent. I think right now the Colts have the most factors to allow them to get in. Like Colin Cowherd said the other day, they have Andrew Luck back. Their schedule is the easiest in the NFL for the last half of the season. Their offensive line is playing at an elite level right now, and their running game has been established.
Yeah.
I think that with what's going on with the Colts right now, they have a good shot. I don't know if they'll make it because of inconsistencies right now, but they still have a good shot.
Yeah, Josh, anything to add there?
Yeah, I think the matchup to watch is going to be Jalen Ramsey on T.Y. Hilton
Yeah,
because I think everybody's caught on to Ramsey's scheme and have not been throwing it to him. So if you are, having T.Y. Hilton in your fantasy lineup this week, I probably would sit him just because I think that they're still going to stick to that method of, well, you can't talk trash if you can't catch anything and I don't throw to you.
yeah,
So, and not to mention, yeah, the offensive line is playing at like the best level I've seen it play since Peyton Manning back in 2009.
yeah,
Very true.
yeah. They're looking really good right now.
And I think that our offensive line is going to dominate their defensive line, but the other way around, it's still a toss-up because you still got to play Bortles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
exactly.
So I think the defense will have a nice time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Hopefully
and-
Darius Leonard gets a couple of sacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to ask you about, because if you're not a Colts fan, you probably don't know much about this guy. But Tyquan Lewis is getting off IR this week. Your
Yes,
second-round draft pick.
Yes.
So what do you guys
Yes.
expect from him?
Josh, go ahead, go first.
I'm going to say it right now. Give him time. He will be the next Robert Mathis or Dwight Freeney on that line. He's just dominant off the ball, and he can just do a nice swim move the way that Freeney used to do it.
Yep. And that's true. We picked him in the second round for a reason. He fits our scheme. He can play both outside and inside interior D lineman because of his size, but his ability his quick first step off the ball is insane. He's got, like Josh said, a great swim move. At Ohio State, he was drowned out a lot because of the elite talent that Ohio State had with Joey Bosa, Sam Hubbard, Adolphus Washington, and all these other guys. But Tyquan Lewis was always the diamond in the rough. He was always that guy that kind of got tossed to the side but was always really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would quite go Tyquan Lewis as Robert Mathis or Dwight Freeney yet, Josh, but I am very excited, and I cannot wait to see Tyquan Lewis play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like most of the guys that are following the Colts right now are excited about Tyquan Lewis.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
All right, so Toby, you got to tell us a little bit about your Saints, man. There's been a lot of stories this week.
There has a lot of topics surrounding the Saints right now this week. Of course, they signed Des Bryant from free agency, which lasted not quite 2 days until his first practice with the Saints, where they still fear that he tore his Achilles at the final part of practice. There has not been any official reports yet if he actually tore his Achilles yet. But, of course, even with a partially torn Achilles or some other injuries that are that severe, he's not going to play any games anytime soon for the Saints. So I think he's out for the season for them anyway, if he has torn his Achilles or not. So, the Saints have a real problem at wide receivers right now with Ted Ginn Jr., who is already on IR. Cameron Meredith just went on IR because of a knee surgery that he has to do following his knee injury from last year, but they expect him to come back at full strength next year. And, of course, now they signed Des Bryant to get more depth at wide receiver. And they lost him too now. Tommy Lee Lewis is on IR still as well, but they expect him to come back in week 12. He's already back at practice, so at least he comes back and adds more depth to the wide receiver squad in New Orleans.
Right.
But right now, they got 3 wide receivers on their active roster right now with Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, and Austin Carr. And Austin Carr, of course, didn't really get that many snaps with the Saints in his 2 years that he's been there now. But they got one more player that is kind of exciting on their practice spot. They might activate him for this week's game or next week's game in Keith Kirkwood. He was kind of exciting in college with 1,600 receiving yards, 16 touchdowns in college. So he might add some more weapons into the wide receiver corps in New Orleans for Drew Brees, but he didn't make the final squad or the active roster this year with the 53-man squad. because he was just too inconsistent in the preseason. So, but there have been reports that he really evolved in the past 10 weeks on the practice squad. So I kind of want to see him in the real game on the field right now this week with Drew Brees, what he can do, because he really looked exciting in the plays he made in preseason. I watched a couple of his grabs. Some of them were really good. So if he really evolved that much, I think he might be doing really well. And as you have already seen in last week's game against the Rams, in the first half at least, the offense of the Saints is just amazing right now, and not even one of the best defenses in the game can stop them.
That's the thing, Toby. It's just that, you can talk about the wide receiver depth all you want. Ultimately, it's kind of the same thing. Tom Brady had this issue a couple years ago, but the thing is, Drew Brees has more talent with him right now than Tom Brady had. Drew Brees and Sean Payton's offensive system makes receivers better and makes Drew Brees look much better. I think that even with a 3-receiver depth right now and the possibility of adding a couple more people, I don't think the wide receiver depth is going to be that much of an issue, especially when you have a talented receiver like Michael Thomas.
Yeah, right now it's not a problem, but you always have to fear another injury for the wide receivers right now. And of course, the Saints still have Alvin Kamara that they can split out wide at some snaps. Then they have a couple of tight ends in there with Ben Watson, Josh Hill, that they can also split out one of them at wide receiver. And of course, then you got you can't really call him any position player. It's just a football player in Taysom Hill right now. You can plug him in at any position right now. It doesn't matter for him. I think he could easily also play defensive end at some point if they have to. So,
if you're going to be like the Browns and go through 3 different quarterbacks in one season, just right there with McCown, McCown, Hogan, and Terrell Pryor. Remember that?
They had that one season. But I don't think it's a real issue right now for the Saints, but it's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, definitely is.
But with a quarterback, as you've already said, Derek, with a quarterback like Drew Brees, it shouldn't be an issue anytime soon. Because I think it's the same as with the Patriots, as you've already said. They can just bring in a guy from practice squad like Kirkwood, as I've said, and put him in the offense and get him some throws from Drew Brees, which he did not get in the preseason. He did not get a ball from Drew Brees. He always got the passes from the backup quarterbacks, which of course didn't help him to get the consistent accuracy from the passes, which kind of hindered him his catching. So I think as soon as he gets on the field with Drew Brees, the most accurate passer in the NFL, he should be good and get a lot of more catches than he did in the preseason.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree.
Yep.
Yeah, but, now we also got another Saints topic from last week, of course. I think everybody by now has seen the Michael Thomas celebration from last week in honor of Joe Horn with pulling out himself from underneath the goalpost, underneath the pads. And had the cell phone celebration, which got a lot of controversy in the NFL and the fans around the NFL. Some even saying that he should get a suspension for that celebration. And of course, it's been a real issue the last couple of years with the celebrations in the NFL. So what do you guys think? Should there be more open rules for celebrations in the NFL after a touchdown?
All right, Josh, you go ahead and start this one for us.
Let me pull up a picture of it because I didn't see it because I left. But, honestly, I don't think they're really, I think they've been lenient now. Have they when it comes to the celebrations? Like more lenient than they were in the past?
Yeah, there have been more rules
more
put into place, and they've been a little more lenient on those,
Yeah. So I think that, I guess with celebration-wise, I think where it's at right now, it's fine. I mean, sure, there's just no, containing it because you're right there in the moment. You scored a touchdown. You got 30 seconds to celebrate, so you got to think of something on the fly. And I think you really can't, punish people for celebrating because they just thought of it right there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can't go like, go to the touchdown, go like, oh, I'm going to flip off the crowd, and then you end up not doing it.
Yeah.
So I just think that, whatever the rules are at, they're fine, unless you do what I think it was Isaiah Crowell did against the Browns.
Yeah, that one is a little bit too much,
yeah, wiping his butt with the football throwing in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it's come to that now. We've been, they had several issues 3 years ago where, almost any excessive celebration would get you a penalty. And then last year, they became more lenient with it. People became more creative. They thought players thought of ideas. But, a few of the, Josh Norman shooting the bow and arrow and, some of these other inappropriate / violent ones are definitely, somewhat inappropriate when it comes to that. But in today's NFL, the players have, learned from that. They're learning not to do certain things like that. I've probably only seen, one or two celebrations that really cause any kind of problems. Nowadays, you see everybody doing the squad pick, after a huge play or a touchdown. That's pretty much what it is now. But, in regards to the Michael Thomas pulling out the cell phone imitation of Joe Horn, I mean, it was fun. I mean, I don't think it definitely should have gotten penalized as it did because, obviously you can't put something underneath the pad. You're not supposed to engage with the pad at all. But in regards to a suspension, come on, man, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
he did no harm to anybody. I mean, it might have been somewhat immature if you want to say that, but I don't believe that's true. But
you remember when T.O. pulled the popcorn out of that fan's hands, just poured it into his helmet mouth?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. And then he absolutely got penalized for that because that was back when they were more strict about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, I can see people start to do more of that stuff because they're going to want to interact with the fans.
But I think even with the popcorn, I don't know if it falls under the same rule as the Michael Thomas one because it wasn't really the issue that he messed with the pad down there. But the issue is that according to the NFL rules, you can't use any props to celebrate your touchdowns. So I don't know if actually pulling popcorn out of a fan's bag would actually count as props because popcorn is not part of a player's uniform. But I don't know. The celebration by Michael Thomas last week, it didn't hinder the game anyway. It wasn't obscene. It wasn't violent at all. It was just he pulled out a cell phone and made a fake call. So I don't see anything about that. Why this celebration would be any hindering of the game and why it would be an excessive celebration call. I see it when you get out bigger props. If you have some kind of, I don't know, huge thing in the tunnel that you pull out on the field, I think, of course, that's hindering the game. It's prolonging the game, and that would be a call. But I don't think any smaller things like pulling out a mask. If you have a mask in your pants by a player and you pull that one out and put it on to celebrate your touchdown, I don't think that's one thing I would change about the NFL rules right now. That you can have little props in there to kind of get more entertaining touchdown celebrations right now. And I don't think that a celebration like the touchdown celebration last week by Michael Thomas should be a penalty anymore in the future. And even thinking about last year, if you think about it, the whole ordeal with OBJ and the kicking net.
Yeah,
I mean, his celebrations were with a prop as well, but
he was doing it on the sidelines. That's the difference. Is he wasn't really doing it.
But he right after his touchdowns, he ran to celebrate it. He ran to the sidelines, and I mean, he punched the kicking net at first, and then he had his touchdown celebrations with it, where he made up with it. He proposed to it, and all that stuff. So it was right at the touchdown celebration there as well.
Yeah, I'll admit when I saw that with OBJ, I'm going like, all right, somebody's. I honestly thought he went off the deep end a little bit right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, the NFL did the right thing, with their guidelines. I do believe that was deserving of a penalty.
Yeah, right now,
especially since he was messing with the padding. But in regards to any deeper punishment, I don't really think that matters too much. I mean, it's not like he did anything to hinder the game or do anything else that affected the game or hurt anyone else.
Yeah, he didn't hurt anyone. So I think if it's a celebration like that, I don't know if you guys agree, it should be a rule change in the future that you can have small props for a touchdown celebration. I mean, you can have something in your pants or something during the game or in a pocket or something that you can't pull out in a touchdown celebration.
I don't believe in putting something in the pants, considering, anything of that kind of object can fall out at some point, hindering the game. But if there's, like Michael Thomas did, a cell phone in the pad that was like, nobody's gonna notice it, and nobody's gonna get affected by it, then I'm okay with that. But it definitely is something to look at in the future.
Yeah.
The biggest question about that, though, is how the screen wasn't shattered after every hit he took.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't put a cell phone down your pants anyway, but I think if you had kind of a Batman mask or something like that, I mean, you see it in soccer in Europe all the time that some players have their kind of character that they pose at after a goal and also have their masks on. Of course, it isn't seen that much, and the officials usually don't like it if they put on masks, and it's a huge discussion there as well. But I think that's one thing that the NFL might be changing in the future. But I think now we talked enough about celebrations, and I mean, it has been talked about in the NFL for years now. And as you guys said, in the last couple of years, they made some changes. They allowed group celebrations last year and more active celebrating by the players and even choreos.
After
the NFL
a touchdown. Taking a step in the right direction with that.
Yeah, because I mean, they even had the NFL as the no fun league, and some people still say that. So I think they are making steps in the right direction. I think there might be more changes to come in the future, and there should be. But for now, I think it's all right. But now moving on to another topic, because we've talked about this a lot. Now is, of course, LeVeon Bell at the Steelers. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? Should he come back? What does that mean for the Steelers? What does it mean for him right now? So I don't know who wants to start us off this time.
So I think that he's not coming back. He's not. He's on a franchise tag. He's got every right to stay out. He's not under contract at all. It's just like I said, a franchise tag.
Yeah.
So, and if he goes back, he has the chance of getting hurt and just ruining everything he just meant to, stand for.
Yeah.
So he's getting himself in shape at LA Fitness playing basketball. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, he has all the right to just wait out there because, I mean, the Steelers are doing just fine without him, and he doesn't want to, get hurt and have his stock drop dramatically. So I think it's smart of him to wait.
All right, so I'll try to make this as quick as possible, but information-filled because I know we got to get to top 5 and predictions. Basically, this week, by Tuesday, LeVeon Bell has to report to the Steelers by this Tuesday in order to be able to play the remainder of the season. If he does not, he is not able to play in the last 7 games of the season, regardless of anything. Now, he has worked out in Pittsburgh, but he has not worked out at the Pittsburgh facility and has not reported to the team. Now, like Josh said, he's under franchise tag. Now, the issue with that is I see no possible solution to Le'Veon Bell coming back because the ultimate issue is James Conner has been balling out. I believe that the Steelers will perform a good deal with James Conner for the future. Le'Veon Bell, if he were to be franchise tagged by the Steelers again, that estimate is going to be at $20 million. which the Steelers do not want to pay Le'Veon Bell for, because that's what Le'Veon Bell has been asking for a long-term deal per year for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And they're not going to pay him that. There's no way they're going to sign him. Le'Veon's not going to take less money. Ultimately, I don't see a solution in which he's going to do anything. He's going to become a restricted free agent at the end of the year if he does not play out the 7 games of the season, ultimately meaning that he has the ability to go to a team he wants to go to. And again, I've been saying that I really want the Colts to try and sign him. I don't know if I really want that anymore or not. It's still a dynamic player. I think I would still want it for the right price. But ultimately, Le'Veon Bell has the decision. His decision comes down by Tuesday night. If he doesn't report to the Steelers by Tuesday night, he's not going to play. If he does report to them by that time, he's going to play the remainder of the season, maybe get some workouts in, show that he's still worth a few stocks. He could come back this week. Like I said to you, Toby, James Conner's in concussion protocol right now. He won't be back for another 2 weeks. Le'Veon Bell could come back and say, you know what, I'll step in. Let me just show people, hey, I still got it. My holdout wasn't for nothing. But ultimately, we're going to figure out his decision by Tuesday.
And after seeing possibility concussion protocol, I just think that he's not going to, just to prove the point that the Steelers, can't win without a sufficient running back.
That's true, yeah. But the one issue I'm having right now with Le'Veon Bell sitting out that long, and I agree with you guys that I think that he won't play this season anymore. I don't think he'll report to the Steelers by Tuesday. So I think Le'Veon will stick with his point that he deserves a bigger contract. But in my opinion, with sitting out a whole season of football, I think he really hurts his stock a lot, because other teams, the last time they have seen him play was in the playoffs in 2017 or beginning this year. So they haven't seen him play for a whole year. They don't know if he's really fit for it. And it's not the same working out off the football field and don't have any game practice than actually being on the field every Sunday and play against an NFL grade defense. So I think he's hurting his stock there. He won't get his big contract that he would have gotten if he'd played a couple of games this year. Or he might still play a couple of games. And one other thing that hurts him a lot right now is the performance of James Conner in the first half of the season. Because nobody had James Conner on his radar before the season or at the beginning of the season. Everybody thought, he's going to play. He might get the majority of snaps for the Steelers this year. But he probably won't put the stats up like Le'Veon Bell did. But now you're seeing him, and he puts up the same amount of points and stats and yardage on the ground, even in the passing game, that Le'Veon Bell did over the last couple of years. So I think a lot of teams in the NFL are looking at Le'Veon Bell in a different light right now. They don't know how he's really doing fitness-wise because they don't see him play. And they see James Conner perform at the Steelers like Le'Veon Bell did the last couple of years. So I think a lot of credit for the performance that Le'Veon Bell showed the last couple of years really goes to the offensive line and the scheming in Pittsburgh. So I think a lot of NFL teams and front offices look at it the same way right now. And
I totally agree with you, Toby, that you said numerous points there. James Conner playing well, Le'Veon not playing at all has definitely kind of hindered his stock a little bit. Yes.
So I don't think there are many teams that are willing to pay $20 million a year for a running back right now. And actually, there aren't many teams in the league that can pay $20 million to a running back right now. And
there's only about 3 or 4 teams that can.
Yeah, there are only a couple of teams that can. And I think a really big issue for Le'Veon Bell as well is that he wants to play for a title contender. And there are not many teams out there that are contending for a title right now that are looking for a running back anymore. And a lot of teams don't have the cap space for $20 million for a running back out there.
Ultimately, the Colts would be his best option because the Browns don't look like they're going there anytime soon. And the Jets have the 3rd highest, and the Jets still have issues on their offense. The Colts look like the most title-ready or title contending team right now. But I don't know if Chris Ballard's going to want to pay him $20 million a year for a contract.
And even with the Colts, they had problems at running back the last couple of years. But right now, the Colts are looking really good at running back with Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines, and Wilson, I think it is.
Wilkins, Jordan Wilkins.
They don't have a needed running back right now, especially with a player that costs them $20 million a year. Right now, I see two teams that are on top of the NFL right now that I have in my top 10 that are really in need of a running back, which would be the Patriots and the Houston Texans. At least Le'Veon Bell would be an upgrade there. But, the Texans are, I think, the best option for Le'Veon Bell right now if he wants to leave the Pittsburgh Steelers, because the Patriots are known for not giving the players big contracts. You're looking at Gronkowski and Tom Brady. They don't play them or they don't pay them at the big numbers that all the other top guys at the position get. So I think the Patriots are out for Le'Veon Bell. So I think he only has two options to be paid or be at a position that he can actually be of value for himself or for the team and still be in title contention, and that's staying with the Steelers or going to the Houston Texans. But I don't know if the Texans are actually in a position that they can pay him. With all the guys that they have Deshaun Watson coming up to get a big contract in 2 or 3 years. They got J.J. Watt still on their roster. They have DeAndre Hopkins. So they are looking at a couple of star players that they still have to pay. So I don't think Le'Veon Bell is looking at a situation there that he can actually get off the Steelers. So I think the right option for him right now would be actually to get back on Tuesday to the Steelers, report to them, play the second half of the season for him, and work out a deal with them.
Yeah, at least the second half.
I got a feeling it's going to come out of nowhere for this one. And I think it's going to be the Oakland Raiders. They got so many draft picks. I know they want to rebuild in the draft, but they need a running back.
Yeah, they need a running back, but they have a lot of steps to do until they are contending for a title. Even with their first round picks, I don't think they are in title contention for the next at least 3 years.
Very true.
Le'Veon's looking more for money and seconding only a championship, pretty much. Because he saw Todd Gurley get paid a massive amount. I mean, Melvin Gordon's about to get paid a massive amount, too. So I think he really just wants to get paid.
Right.
Yeah, but still, when you're a football player, you always look to get paid on a team that gets a championship. And Le'Veon, I think, said it as well. He wants to sign with a team that is in a title contention, and that's why he always searched for a deal with the Steelers, because he knew it's the perfect situation for him there. He is the number one guy there. He has a shot every year to get at least to the AFC Championship game, and now he's just throwing it away by sitting out a whole season.
Yeah, so what about the Packers, too? Going to go there?
Yeah, but with Aaron Jones playing the way he is right now, I don't think they're and they don't like to really pay people that much either. I know they paid Aaron Rodgers.
They are paying Aaron Rodgers, but that's about the only guy that they are paying. All the other guys, and still they have a lot of great guys and veteran guys in there that performed well in the past and that still have big contracts there. So I don't think the Packers even have the money to pay Le'Veon Bell right now.
Or do you think he'll stay in conference in the AFC North and go to like the Ravens? Or
the Ravens might be an option for him, but
only issue is the money. It's just it ultimately comes down to the money.
It really comes down to the money. Not a lot of teams have the money to pay a running back that amount of money that he wants right now, and even the Chargers will have a problem in a couple of years when they're playing Melvin Gordon right now, because they have a lot of young players in there that they still have to pay that are on their rookie contracts that might go away from the team, or they have to get a big contract out there and are limiting themselves with Melvin Gordon, who had problems with injury in the last couple of years. Same with the Rams with Todd Gurley. They still, I think Jared Goff's contract is up in 2 years if he gets his
Yeah.
the one additional year on his rookie contract.
Right.
But still, Jared Goff is not a cheap player after his rookie contract, probably. And then they still have Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh and all the other guys that they still have to pay on the Rams.
I think they just paid Aaron Donald, though.
Yeah, they paid him, but
yeah,
but still, you're limiting yourself with 3 or 4 players on your entire roster. And
But I just think by then Aaron Donald's going to be moved on from Los Angeles.
Yeah, probably, but the same is with Le'Veon Bell, and I think a lot of teams don't want to do that they limit themselves to 2 or 3 big contracts, and that's why a lot of teams are shying away from Le'Veon Bell right now, and especially now that they haven't seen him on the field for now half a year and maybe an entire season in the NFL. I think it's if he's sitting out the entire season, it's the same depreciation of his value as he would have been injured in the season, because nobody saw him on the play and nobody knows what he can actually do anymore.
Right.
But yeah, that's enough about Le'Veon Bell right now. And of course, I've already talked a little bit about the title contenders now. And now we got our power rankings in the NFL. We got our top 5 teams right now in the NFL. Yeah, Derek, why don't you start us off? Give us your top 5, starting from number 5.
All right. My top starting 5 power rankings for this week is number 5, Pittsburgh. After what was seen from Carolina, their offense is clicking at an all-time high right now. Their defense is finally starting to pick up the slack a little bit. They look like the Steelers' pre-injury Ryan Shazier, which is great to say because earlier this year we couldn't say that. Now we can say that, and now they're looking like a much more polished football team. Number 4, the Chiefs. These next 4 picks, I think that everyone has in their top 4. It's just a matter of where you put them. The Chiefs, obviously, with their high-powered offense right now, but they're struggling a little bit still with their defense. That's why I have them at number 4. And behind, number 3, Patriots. The Patriots right now, they're still trying to work things out, but I still ultimately trust Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I can't pick against them right now at the moment. And then number 2, the Rams. The Rams obviously have still looked really good. Even after their loss against the Saints, their offense still played insanely well. Their defense is struggling, but then again, they were playing the number 1 Saints offense right now. And obviously, the Saints at number 1. If you don't have the Saints at number 1 right now, you are lying to yourself. The number 1 offense in the league by far, the number 1 rush defense in the league. This team is ultimately on a warpath to be the best team in the league right now. Right now, they are at number 1. That is my top 5. Pittsburgh, Chiefs, Patriots, Rams, and then the Saints.
All right.
All right.
Who you got, Josh?
All right, number 5, I got the Chargers. Okay. I just think right now they're just all clicking on all cylinders. I mean, sure, they're like second behind the Chiefs, so they're getting outshined by the Chiefs, but I'll get to that later. I just think that the Chargers are starting to show that they are actually relevant now, and that given some time, and when Joey Bosa comes back, and they're lined with is it Evan Ingram or Melvin Ingram?
Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram. Yep.
Yeah, and Joey Bosa on that defensive line on both sides. They're going to be a dominant defense again. But yes, that's pretty much it. But at number 4. Oh, gosh. This one was tricky, but I actually had to give the nod to the Bears on this one.
Really?
Okay. I did. Because I just think that their defense, regardless of what everybody said about it, has gotten really good. And Trubisky is finally getting it. You can see it here. And they're actually proving it when they're on the field. Sure, they don't have like the best record of them all, but I still think that the Bears are starting to show that, that they're tired of always losing to Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I just think that now that they have Khalil Mack, he added another element to their defense. Right. And then at number 3, I had the Chiefs. Offense with Mahomes clicking on all cylinders. Kareem Hunt. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. That's like the deadliest, like 3 weapons you could give a quarterback like Mahomes, who is mobile. But as Derek said, the defense just needs to pick up some more slack, and they'll make it to the Super Bowl easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then number 2, got to give it to Tom Terrific and the Patriots, as always.
Of course.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Patriots at 2. And then at number 1, of course, the Saints, because I would be an idiot if I didn't say so myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, they're pretty much the team that's already firing on all cylinders. It's already 3 miles down the road where everybody else is starting to click. They're just running away with it right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thought I had my most surprising pick in my top 5, but you coming out with number 4 Bears, I think that changed that one. But yeah, my number 5 are the Houston Texans. I thought that would be a surprise there. But right now, I think the Texans are a really good team. They have a great offense right now with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. They have DeAndre Hopkins as one of the best wide receivers in the league. Of course, they just got Demaryius Thomas as their number 2 wide receiver as well. And then they got Lamar Miller, who is getting back to being one or a really good running back in the league for them again. And they still have one of the best defenses in the league. So I think they have had a little bit of problems in them, in a couple of weeks this year where they didn't play that well. But in the end, I think they have a really complete football team right now. So I'd watch out for the Texans. I think they're the clear favorite for the AFC South title this year to be in the playoffs. And in the playoffs, I think they have a really good shot at least making it out of the wild card game to the divisional round. So Texans are pretty strong this year for me. At number 4 right now, I have the New England Patriots. Of course, Patriots are always a contender every year with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady there. And same for me as with Derek. I don't think there's anything more to say there. It's just Belichick, Brady. That combo is always good for a title, or for at least making it to the AFC Championship each year. At number 3, the Chiefs, top team in the AFC for me right now. They're just awesome at their offensive game right now. Of course, defense sucks, but I'm curious to see what they actually can do in the playoffs this year, because they are for sure, or 99% I think is their chance to make the playoffs right now. So I'm kind of curious to see what they can actually do in the playoffs with Alex Smith as their quarterback. They've always, when they made it to the playoffs, their end was always their first game in the playoffs. They didn't make it past game 1, I think, in the playoffs with Alex Smith. So I just want to see what Pat Mahomes can do this year if they make it to, or when they make it to the playoffs. I think you don't even have to put an if there anymore.
Right.
But yeah, number 2 for me are the Rams right now. They just have a really good game on both sides of the ball right now. Of course, their defensive line is, I think the defense line is the best in the league right now with all the star power that they have right there. Of course, they have struggled against the Saints, as you guys already said, but when you're playing against the best offense right now with the likes of Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and all that star power there, I don't think any defense has any chance against the Saints right now. Of course, the Ravens had a pretty good game against the Saints on defense, but I think that was just a bad game by the Saints offense, really. But at number 1, like Derek said, there is no other way right now. And of course, for a Saints fan, it's always going to be the Saints. But right now, I think I have a good reason for it.
You actually have a reason for it.
Yeah.
Now.
But yeah, the Saints are number 1 with the offense that I've said right now. Of course, they're struggling in their pass defense, but I think they are getting better at the position right now, and I think I talked about it last week. They got Eli Apple as their number 2 cornerback opposite of Marshawn Lattimore, so they have a real squad of OSU players right there now, which I think, as you can see, Derek quite likes. So yeah, they are looking really good there. and I think they can improve at their pass defense as well over the next coming weeks for the playoffs. So Saints is number one for me as well. So yeah, that's the power rankings for us right now. I think our top three, besides Josh, who didn't have the Rams in this top five, so kind of surprising there. But yeah, I think most of the teams are the same here. But now, of course, to the major part of the podcast, our predictions for next week. And, well, we talked a lot about the Saints so far in this podcast. So we're starting off with the Saints game this week. The Saints at Cincinnati. Who you guys got? I think we're starting with Derek again to be in the right order for a graphic at the end again.
All right. Let's do it. 15, 20 seconds each here, boys. Saints will continue their role against the Bengals. Obviously, their offense is just too good, even with the Bengals having a stout pass attack defensive line. I don't see them getting past the O-line of the Saints right now. The Saints will win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. Saints all the way.
I got one thing for you guys. Who dat?
Oh, no.
Who are there? You got the Saints in this one. I got the Saints in this one. I mean, everybody's got the Saints in this one. Heck, even the Bengals fans have the Saints in this one. They're actually Give me the Saints.
All right. Yeah, of course, I'm going to go with the Saints as well. Saints, as we've all three of us have the Saints as the number one team in the league right now. And I think the Saints are a little bit mad. If we've looked at the players' tweets this week for the Saints are mad about the Bengals chants, who is who they, which they kind of stole from the Saints with their who dat, as you have heard from Josh already. So there have been a couple of players, I think mostly Mark Ingram, who put that out on Twitter this week. So they kind of want to show the Bengals who the real guys are with their fans chants. So I'm having the Saints easily in this game. And right now, another NFC South against the AFC North matchup with the Atlanta Falcons at the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think this game's going to be a little closer than some people might think. The Browns defense is a little better than the Washington Redskins defense. They won't allow those dump screen touchdown passes in which Julio got his first touchdown of the year. Although I do think the Falcons' high-powered offense will prevail a little bit more than the Browns. I say it's going to be a 23-20 game, Atlanta Falcons.
All right.
Well, I picked the Falcons to beat the Redskins, and look what happened. So I'll pick the Falcons again for this one, because I just think that Calvin Ridley is going to find a way to get open, and Julio is just going to be there again. And I just think that the Browns still have a lot to work out, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I just got to give this one to the Falcons. I mean, I'll probably give it the same margin as Derek, but that's all I got. It's going to be the Falcons that take this one home.
Yeah, I got to go with the same points you guys already talked about. For me, the same. Falcons are going to win this game against Cleveland. Cleveland is a really young team that still has to develop a lot. So I think in the coming years, the Browns will be better, but not this year. And the Falcons are getting better and better this year. So I'm giving this clearly to the Falcons. Yeah. Next game, divisional matchup in the NFC North, Detroit Lions against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, another NFC powerhouse game right here, or not so powerhouse for one team.
Yeah.
The Lions are not going to win this game. The Bears at home, that defense will terrorize Matt Stafford the same way the Jets did it in week 1 against him. I don't know if they'll quite force 5 turnovers, but they will force a turnover or 2 in this game. The Bears will ultimately win this game, I believe, by a score or 2.
Yeah. Well, after I hyped them up to the number 4 spot in my top 5 list, I got to go with the Bears because for this again. I mean, Stafford has only Marvin Jones on offense.
Yeah.
Keon Johnson still has to prove himself. He's going to be a great halfback, but the rest of the schedule for the Lions is going to be horrendous for them. I mean, have you seen the rest of their schedule?
I have not seen it.
Hold on, I will pull it up really quick because they play Chicago twice still.
Yeah, they still have to play Chicago twice. They have, they have about the best opponents in their division right now with the Vikings, Green Bay, and
Bears. They got to play the Green Bay one more time. They got to play Minnesota one more time, and they have to play Chicago twice.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the toughest division right now after the NFC South with the Saints, Falcons, and Carolina right now. So I think that's about the two best divisions right now in football. But yeah, I also got the Bears right there in this game. Of course, Detroit is not really clicking there. They don't have the offensive weapons after they traded away Golden Tate at the trade deadline. We talked about that last week, of course. But yeah, I don't think Detroit has any chance in this game. Chicago is really good this year. For me, they are a top 10 team, not a top 5 team like it is for Josh. But the Lions, I think, are just not quite there to match up with the Bears right now. I think the next one is a pretty easy one as well, with Arizona against Kansas City.
Yeah, not that this has anything to do with anything, but Sam Bradford has been released. Not that matters because he was bad either way. But yeah, the Chiefs still have too much offensive firepower. The Cardinals, I think, will put up some points, probably like 14 or 17 points in this game, because they will be able to take advantage of a few things from the Chiefs' defense. But the Chiefs ultimately will score more than the Cardinals, so Chiefs all the way.
Yep, Chiefs all the way as well. Just too much offensive firepower for this Cardinals defense, and Peterson really handle by himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really. I mean, the Cardinals will score because it is the Chiefs' defense after all, but it won't be to the point where how much the Chiefs are scoring on their own defense.
Yeah, same points for me there. I think Arizona will put up a little bit more than 14 or 17 points. I have them in the low to mid 20s. I think 3 touchdowns for Arizona, just because of the defense that Kansas City has right now. But I think Kansas City can easily put up 40 to 50 points on them. So easy win for Kansas City, especially at home in Arrowhead Stadium. So yeah, Kansas City again. Next one I think is about as easy as it comes again, with New England at Tennessee.
Yeah, we have a bunch of games this week that seem to be, a little bit more easy than last week. But yeah, I'm going with the Patriots. I mean, I don't care if it's at Tennessee. Tennessee hasn't really proven to me anything yet. Yes, they beat the Cowboys last week, but then again, the Cowboys are one of the top 5 worst teams in the league. And the Patriots obviously are the Patriots. Give me the Patriots.
Yep, give me the Patriots too. It's just they're gonna burn Malcolm Butler.
Yeah,
they are just gonna attack him.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing. They're just gonna make him embarrass him. So that's why I think that the Patriots are gonna win. Just because they can outplay the Titans easily.
Yeah. Right now, Tennessee, I think the game against Dallas last week was kind of a fluke, because Dallas is not as good as a team as many make the Cowboys out right now. So Tennessee isn't that good as well. But New England, of course, Josh has already talked about it. They have a reason to kind of give it to Butler for them. And if you look at the stats, he is one of the worst cornerbacks right now in the NFL. I think he already is accountable for the most touchdowns against Tennessee right now. And with Tom Brady and the wide receiver targets they have, even with Gronkowski not playing in that game, they have enough power to beat Tennessee. So I'm taking the Patriots as well. And yeah, the next matchup I think is about the closest one you have this week, or at least the most interesting one in the close games, with the Washington Redskins against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Josh, I'm going to do the same thing you did last week. Fitz money. This time I'm banking on the Buccaneers to pull off a win against the Redskins. The Redskins defense wasn't very good last week. and I think the Buccaneers will have the same effect. Give me the Buccaneers this week.
Yeah, I'll take the Buccaneers again as well. I just think that, as long as Fitzmoney keeps, doing what he's doing, the Buccaneers are going to easily win.
All right. Yeah, I gotta mix it up a little bit here. I'm gonna go with the Redskins in this game. Of course, the Redskins have a couple of injuries on offense right now, with Paul Richardson out as well, with Thompson not being able to play this week again. So, yeah, but I think they won't play as bad as they did last week against the Falcons. Of course, I've talked about it with the Falcons game against Cleveland. The Falcons are a really good team right now. They have a good offense. They have a pretty decent defense. So I think the Redskins are actually better than they looked last week. So I'm not really confident in Tampa Bay because Fitzmoney, as you guys like to call him, yeah, he is performing well for a couple of games, but I think there's gonna be that one game where he's just gonna start to decline and not put up those insane numbers as he did in the last games that he played for Tampa Bay. I think it's gonna be this week's game against Washington, so I'm gonna give it to Washington there.
I won't be this week, Toby. It'll be next week when I don't pick them.
But all right, yeah, Derek and I talked about it before the podcast about this game, and we both agree that it's probably the worst game in this season of the NFL, between the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets.
Now, this would be a much worse game if Sam Darnold were actually playing. Yeah. Josh McCown is going to get the start this week, which I think actually might help the Jets, as Toby said as well. Give me the Jets. The Bills don't deserve a win off anybody right now. Give me the Jets.
Wow, this is like, do I want to stab myself or shoot myself? Kind of. Jeez, oh, Pete. I mean, either way, whoever picks a winner is still a loser. So
yeah,
true.
I trust McCown more than Allen, so I got to go the Jets.
There you go.
Yeah, same for me, the Jets. Well, Derek already said it. We talked about it before, and I think McCown is actually helping the Jets right now. So I think the Jets are beating the Bills. I think it's gonna be a really low-scoring game. There's gonna be a lot of interceptions in this game. So
mark your defenses.
Yeah, play your defenses in this game. Either Buffalo or Jets, if they are available. Fantasy football, pick them up, play them. It's going to be a great matchup for both defenses and special teams there. And of course, your guys' game between the Jaguars and the Colts.
Yep, Colts Nation, hear me out here, okay? The Colts will win this game at home against a struggling Jaguars offense. I know they might have Leonard Fournette back this week, but Blake Bortles has not been the same, and the Colts have been on a hot streak. This is the healthiest they've been since training camp started. Give me the Colts all day long.
Yep, gotta say, give me the Colts. Now, offensive line is going to dominate that defensive line. So I just think that as long as Andrew Luck stays upright and the running backs can find a hole, it's going to be an easy win for the Colts here. Because you got Blake Bortles that's going to keep giving them second chance after second chance after every throw he has.
Yep.
So it's just, Colts all the way.
Yeah, same reasoning for me here. I'm also going with the Colts. The Jaguars are not the team that they were last year. Their offense, of course, never was the best one. I don't know how they did it last year. Of course, they had a couple more receivers in there with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, who I don't know how they did it, but they actually look pretty good with Blake Bortles. And now the defense this year for the Jaguars is not that elite anymore as it was last year. So Indianapolis is really coming back. I think Andrew Luck will have a great game against the Jaguars. And yeah, Josh already said it in the Colts segment in the beginning of the podcast. I think the matchup to look out for in this game is going to be Jalen Ramsey against T.Y. Hilton. But the way that Jalen Ramsey played this year already, I'm going to give this matchup to T.Y. Hilton easily. So I think the Colts are the favorite in this game, and they win it at home especially.
Not to mention there's Ebron as well.
Yeah, and Ebron, of course, the number one tight end in the game in touchdowns right now. Yeah, the next game, of course, being the LA Chargers at the Oakland Raiders. What do you got, guys?
Chargers looking really good right now, as Josh already stated. Raiders, possibly the one or two worst teams in the league right now. Give me the Chargers.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
as I said before during the break there, Toby, give me the Chargers. Raiders have the worst defense in the NFL. In my opinion, I believe they do. They just can't stop anything. Derek Carr just, I don't know, doesn't want to be a quarterback anymore from what I've seen. And just, I've never seen a team more defeated like that since the Browns last year.
Yeah. Same for me right here. The Chargers are looking good right now. And I mean, Josh, you already had them at number 5 in the league right now in your power rankings. I don't have them quite as high. I put them probably at number 7 right now in my rankings. But of course, the Raiders are one of the worst teams in the NFL right now, whether it's on offense or defense. So for me, the clear winner here are the LA Chargers. And, well, we're going to stay with another LA team, with the LA Rams at home against the Seattle Seahawks.
The Rams are going to come out hungry. They're angry after last week's game. The Seahawks are just not the same team on the road, especially after being defeated like they were against Chargers.
Yeah.
Give me the Rams this week.
Yeah, if this was at Seattle, I would give it to Seattle. But I think the Rams, they're just going to be just as pissed off that they blew their perfect season that they could have had.
Yeah.
So, they're going to come out and just roll over the former Legion of Boom.
Yeah, for me the same. I think Seattle is kind of a mid-pack team right now in the NFL, power rankings wise. But Rams are the second best team for me in the NFL right now. They have, like I've already said in my power rankings, they have a really balanced team. They are good on, or really good on offense. They have a really good defense. So no way that the Seahawks are beating them anywhere right now, either it being at home or in LA. So easy pick for the Rams for me. And the next game, Miami Dolphins at the Green Bay Packers.
I think the Packers are going to win this game. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have himself a decent week. He had a decent game against the Patriots last week, but didn't do very great. Give me the Packers over the Dolphins this week.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Packers as well, because it's at Green Bay. It's going to be very cold. Cold that, Miami is not really used to. So I think that's going to play a huge factor in this game, besides Aaron Rodgers. But, give me the Packers against the Dolphins.
Yeah, for me, it's the Packers as well. I think Miami is not really that good of a team right now. And, of course, the Packers at home, as you've already said, Josh, the cold is going to affect Miami a lot more than it will affect the Packers. And, Miami is not good on offense. They're not good on defense right now. I don't see any way that they can stop Aaron Jones or Aaron Rodgers right now, the two Aarons there. But, easy pick for the Packers for me again. A lot of easy picks, I think, this week, like Derek already said. And now coming up to the divisional rivalry between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles.
The Sunday night matchup we wish we never saw.
Yeah.
This one might go down as the worst Sunday night football game of the season. You never know, but give me the Eagles. The Eagles' offense too high-powered for the Cowboys, and the Eagles, even without a few defensive starters, are still too good for the Cowboys. Give me the Eagles.
Yeah, give me the Eagles too. I mean, sure, the Titans won on a fluke, but I mean, the Cowboys still let the Titans win. So I think Zeke is in the middle of a slump right now. And I think that's playing a huge factor into why they can't get the ball moving.
Well, I've already talked about it at the Tennessee game, about the game last week. between Tennessee and Dallas, and I've said Dallas is, for me, one of the worst teams right now in the NFL. And yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Josh. Zeke is in kind of a slump right now, but for me, the reason that is because of Dak Prescott right now. Because the defenses that are playing against Dallas right now, they can almost fully concentrate on the run right now because Dak Prescott just can't bring a pass to any of his wide receivers or tight ends. So I think Zeke has a really tough situation right now, just because the passing offense is not good right now, and the opposing defense just can't really concentrate on stopping him out of the backfield right now. And of course, he can't get the touches as well, just because Dak Prescott can't complete any throws this year. So yeah, I'm also giving it to the Eagles if this isn't clear by now, because the Eagles they didn't start that hot this year, but they are coming back. They're getting better each week, and so for me, it's a clear Eagles win, especially at home in Philadelphia. Yep. And of course, last but not least, the New York Giants against the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football.
And again, another terrible matchup.
Yeah.
Again, what is it? We got. I know the NFL signed these games because they said, oh, Jimmy G is going to be playing, and there's going to be John Gruden and the new Oakland Raiders that we got going on here, turning out to be the second worst game, maybe the worst game of the week, and this one definitely is going to be bad. But the Giants haven't done very well. I know Odell's trying to stay positive, but right now I don't know if I can go with them just because of how bad their offense has looked. I'm going to give it to the hot hand of San Francisco just because of how they played last week.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is finally the time where we go off the same path, Derek, because I think we've been in the same boat this whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to give this one to the Giants. I just think that there's more of a complete team there than there is in the Niners, and they just haven't found it because Eli is playing like garbage. But Saquon is actually carrying this team, and I think as long as they keep giving it to Saquon against that Niners defense, I think that the Giants are going to win this one.
Yeah,
it all comes down to Toby here.
Yeah, well, I'm also giving it to the 49ers.
Let's go!
But yeah, I see that as a really close game, actually, because as you've already said, Josh, I think the Giants have the better team right now, but they are just not using it right now. And well, to your point, Derek, that these games are scheduled before the season. If you're looking at the players right now, with San Francisco at the beginning of the season, you got Jimmy Garoppolo going against the most hyped rookie coming out of the draft in Saquon Barkley against OBJ. And, well, of course, now Eli Manning is not performing that well. But Eli Manning, if you told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have said, okay, that's a great matchup right there. Now that we're in half of the season right now, it's one of the worst matchups, actually. I think that these two teams are, the San Francisco 49ers looked actually pretty well when they played with Jimmy Garoppolo. But the New York Giants, I think a lot of people had them higher at the beginning of the season. But I just think San Francisco, how they are making up for losing their quarterback, being it Jimmy Garoppolo, or even last week against with C.J. Beathard when they started Nick Mullins, I guess it was, who nobody really heard about him. They still made it work somehow. I think with Kyle Shanahan as their head coach right now, I think he is the difference maker. He just can make a worse team just look better right now, and the Giants just can't make anything out of their talent that they have on their team right now. So I'm giving this one to the 49ers. Like I said, for me, it's just because of the better head coach right now and the better game plan that they probably have against the Giants in this game.
All right, really quick.
Yeah.
Was Ben McAdoo right?
What was he right about?
About blaming everything on Eli. Was Ben McAdoo fired wrongly?
I do believe that there was
Yeah.
some wrong termination there.
Yeah, it's not just because of Eli Manning, of course. I think Eli Manning was made look bad or worse than he actually is because of the game plan or the game book that Ben McAdoo actually had. So I think of course, Eli Manning is not the prime Eli Manning that he was when he won his 2 Super Bowls against Tom Brady. He's a decent quarterback in the NFL, but like I said, I think it was the coaching situation right there that made him look a little bit worse than he actually is.
Yep.
All right. Well, if nobody has to add anything, I think we're at the end of our podcast. Again, thank you guys for being on the podcast, hosting it with me. I think we talked a lot about a couple of topics in the NFL that are current right now and had a couple of really good points in there as well. So, I hope we see all you guys that are watching or listening or doing whatever with this podcast right now. We see you again next week, but until then, I'm going to say bye to all of you and, of course, to you, Derek and Josh, as well.
Yep.
See you next week.
Yep.
See you, boys.